And that text is obnoxious. Let's not even correct it. We're just going to move on to another one. We're talking about Cibele here. Now, first, before I even say what this game is, and actually, let's just get rid of the game entirely off the screen. We're going to talk for about 20 minutes on how dumb I am. So I follow this game. I will say this: it's autobiographical by Nina Freeman, and I follow her on Twitter. And for months now, I had seen, little, hey, I'm working on the game, da 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 da. So you're just scrolling through Twitter. You're just scrolling through. It's not a whatever, not a big thing. And at the time, though, I read the name of the game, which actually I will put it back up so you can see the spelling and see how dumb I am. I was reading this game months ago, as Celebi, like the Pokemon. So I'd scroll through Twitter. Oh, I'm working on Celebi today. La la la, funny gif, la la la. Months go by where I think this game is called Celebi. Not once did I even think that would be a really stupid decision to name your game after a Pokemon. No, I'm not dyslexic. I just called this game Celebi because I'm apparently unable to read. But a couple weeks ago, something clicked, and I think it was this very image where I looked at it and I said, that don't say Celebi. That's not what that says. That is wrong. You're an idiot. And I was right in that I was wrong. That's not Celebi. So I realized then, okay, the name of this game must be Cibele. Cyber. So it takes place online. When I get into actual talking about the game, that's what it's about. So that must be what it is, right? It's Cibele. Okay. Another couple weeks go by, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to review this on the show. It's a couple days before release. Let's look up how you actually pronounce it, because I'm still not 100% sure. I know it's not pronounced Celebi. I figured that life's greatest mystery out. It's not Celebi. So what it is, I find a podcast with Nina on it, and one of the hosts is like, okay, we're going to talk to Nina about her game, Cibele. And at this point, my brain is just collapsing under itself. It's a giant. It's a tiny black hole. Not that the size of a black hole matters, science. So okay, it's not Celebi. It's not Cibele. It's Cibele? Then Nina comes on and is like, oh yeah, when you have an online avatar and you name them, you don't necessarily know what the name is, how to pronounce it. I pronounce the game Cibele. There are 4 names for this game in my head, and every time I think of how to say it, I don't know which one to choose. My brain has to cycle through and figure it out. The name of the game is Cibele. I would have never guessed that. Never. I could have been on a deserted island, had nothing else to do but unscramble this mystery. Never would have figured it out. Nevertheless, Cibele. We're going to talk about Cibele. As I said, autobiographical game from Nina Freeman and other people, not just her. And it's an indie thing. It's a love story online taking place in an MMO, and I'm not going to spoil anything about it. That's really all I'm going to say about the story, because it's only like an hour and a half ish, maybe a little less. Took me a little less. So to say anything more than that would kind of ruin it. But it's her interaction, and you're on her computer. Let me get the screenshots. It's her interaction with this guy online, and they fall in love. That's it. And there's sexy pictures on the screen. And you're on your desktop, and you get to read her notes, and you can just read her emails, and it's got this weird nostalgic feeling to me, because we're both about the same age, actually really close to the same age, of that time. This takes place in 2009. I know what year it is. I don't know how to read, but I know what year it is. 2009. It reminds me of that time. It reminds me of chat logs you have with people. It reminds me of emailing. I mean, this wasn't before Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. Maybe it was before Instagram, but it was before Twitter really got big. It was before Facebook got super big. It was just when Facebook was big, but I mean, this was a different time. And it reminds me of being even younger and being on like AOL chat logs and all that stuff. Hey, what are people in the comments going on? I can't read that. I interrupted the whole flow to read something that doesn't make sense. So good on you. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's a very nostalgic time for a lot of people. For a lot of people my age, I'm 25, of just the early days of the internet and interacting and the relationships you have with these people that are, that those emails she gets and it's like, Jesus, Nina, go outside. And it's like, no, screw you. I'm not going outside. Why? These people I've met online are just as important to me, if not more so, than the people I know in real life. And is there even a difference in real life, internet life? No, there's no difference. These are just people you know. And that's what I took away from the story, because while it is an interesting story and while it can be powerful if you really relate to it, I knew the ending. I knew where it was going. And that is not a benefit, in case you're curious. Not a benefit. And knowing where it's going is it makes the bittersweet ending, which I probably said too much saying bittersweet, it makes that expected. You know it's coming, and that's a problem if you know the ending. So don't know the ending. Just go into it, because you're gonna know already off the top with all I've been saying. If this is something you're into, this kind of indie, it's just really a story. There's gameplay here, but you can't fail. It's really more just like you're exploring her computer, which is kind of weird because it's got all her pictures. Like, this is me in high school. This is me in like my underwear. Like, all right, should I be here? Should I be in your computer right now? It's a little weird, just a touch weird. But so initially when I finished it, and since I already knew the story, I was I want to say a little disappointed. But then I a couple hours went by and I was started thinking about similar-ish relationships I've had in my life, just to people, not even romantic relationships, just relationships to people online, and it made me start thinking about them, and it was like, man, I haven't thought about these people in years, but I loved talking to them. I never met them, I never did anything, and it was encapsulated in this world. There's a guy I met playing Metal Gear Online on MGS4. Tons of fun. Every once in a while, we'll exchange PlayStation messages to each other. But the experience I had, we had a little clan. We'd go kill a bunch of weirdos online. It was fun. It was an enjoyable time. And I don't play MMOs because MMOs are monotonous to me. And I don't like people, which is another reason why I don't like MMOs. But that's what I took away from it. Maybe not necessarily the love goal that the aim of the game was for, but it was fun remembering all those times I had online and remembering, like in like 2003, being on message boards talking about like Resident Evil 4 is going to come out, being super excited about it. That's what it reminded me of. And for those nostalgic feelings alone of that time, because even though it's only, 6 years later, it is a different time. It is a different time. The internet has changed. It changes a lot. It changes rapidly. You don't even necessarily notice it, but think about it. 10 years ago, there wouldn't be on the news someone's Twitter handle under their name. That doesn't even make any sense. And now it's on every show. It's there. The internet is everywhere. And I don't know. It's just an interesting experience. It's a different game. I like to encourage or support games like this that aren't shooty McStabby stabs. That's important. That's important to have. It's important to have these interesting autobiographical things. That could be a real niche, might not be the right word, but that could be a real interesting avenue for games going forward. Is these stories? This is more of a book. It's more of a short film, and I think it succeeds in that aspect. It's not a game in like, yeah, I'm playing a game, but it's an interactive experience, and it's one that I'm gonna think about. That's the takeaway. I'm just gonna think about it. And I like what it's making me think of. It's a warm memory, even though it's melancholy with what's going on. It reminds you of a fun time in your life if you're of that certain age. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're not gonna like it. But whatever. Now I have to move on to a game that is almost exactly the same. It's almost a ripoff. It's Metal Gear Solid 5. It's exactly the same game, right? That's how games work? Everything's the same? No? Fine then.